Today we're going to go through setting up a brand new Predator generator. This is going to be similar for most generators, but I had to get another one. I've already got one, works great, but I don't want to have to be swapping out all the time, so I actually picked up another one because they are so good. So today I'm going to basically take it through. I just unboxed it. I'm going to show you what's in the box and what you need to do to get it going. So I just unboxed this brand new Predator 3500 generator, and in the box there's several things that comes with it. There's an RV ready plug that goes into the front and allows you to plug in your 30 amp RV plug into this, which by the way, these do work very well for an RV as long as you're not running two ACs off of it. It works great. They also throw in a spark plug wrench and a kind of a cheap little screwdriver with a little carrying pack, which is kind of cool. There's also a DC 12 volt that you can plug into the generator there, and it gives you 12 volt on these. So if you were going to, need that for another particular purpose. They also give you a funnel. So those are the pieces that come with it. Now, the part that they don't give you is the oil. So you need to make sure that you have oil, and they recommend that you put in 10W30 oil. So these don't come with oil, but I actually had bought a rototiller for the garden, and it gave me 2 bottles of oil with it, and this is just a regular 1030. So what I do is on the first oil that we put in, typically I'm using a standard 1030, and then after that I'll use a synthetic. That allows the rings to sit and stuff like that a little better. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to access the oil fill door. So that's, if you're looking at the front, it's on the right hand side. We've got a nice big screw type thing that just looks like it clicks. This is a little bit different from the other one, and it just kind of clicks and goes one way. So then we have the oil filler screw, and this one looks a little different as far as doing an oil change, so that's going to be interesting for the next time. It looks like it has a tube. Cool. I didn't see that. Oh, look at that. That's sweet. So for an oil change, instead of the way we used to do it with popping the bottom out, this actually has a tube that comes out. So then you can unscrew the top and let it go up, and then it has a little spot where it goes right back in and connects in. So that's really cool. That's very nice. Like that a lot. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out the oil dipstick, and it's the orange. Can't miss it. We're going to pull that out and pull it open, and you can see there is no oil in it. It does not ship with oil. Now they do give you this handy dandy little funnel as well, and then there's a funnel that I like to use as well, which actually gives me a little more flexibility, and I use this on all my little small engines because I can put it right in there and it's a little easier to use. So I'm going to go ahead and use this, but you could definitely use that funnel as well. All right, so this is supposed to hold 20.2 ounces, and this is 20.3, so we should be good to go. And the way when you fill these up, they fill up until it actually overflows, and that's when you know you're full. So as you get towards the end, especially if you have a quart that it's not at 20 ounces, you could always pour it into a measuring device, which sometimes I do as well. And you can see right there, that's going to be the full part. So it's actually leaking out just a little bit. I'm going to stick my funnel into my container there. I'm going to wipe that off just a touch. And then I am going to go ahead and screw in my oil plug. And I'm going to snug that up tight. I'm not going to over tighten it. And I'm going to just kind of wipe everything. Make sure I don't have any bunch of oil floating around down in there. It's always good to have a little paper towel or something in there just to kind of grab anything that's going to overrun with it. All right, so that portion of it is done. Now, the next piece is these have a battery that's included for the electric start. Now, they're real simple to pull. I mean, it's a very easy, you don't even hardly have to give it much to actually start it, but it's also very convenient in a lot of ways. The way I've got it set up in my camper, my bar comes across very close, right in here, so I kind of have to just pull it up a little bit. Well, with the electric start, I don't have to do anything. I just touch the button. So the next piece that we're going to do is actually connect the battery terminals. So, pop this open. All right, and there's our battery. Now these batteries, I just got done doing some maintenance on my other one, and I got a battery from Harbor Freight. It was the wrong size. So if you want this particular battery, you've got to get it off of Amazon or from an auto parts store. So I'll put a link in the description below if you want to get the battery like this. My hands are all oily. Well, one thing you'll notice on the new ones, on the old ones, just like the oil change area had changed a little bit, because you used to have to pull out a 10mm bolt. The battery on the other one is actually on this side, and it has a little more real estate to kind of get around. This one's kind of in there, kind of snug. But now what we're going to do is we're going to take these pieces that they give you to hook up the battery, and we're going to put those onto the battery. So we've got a positive and a negative. And the positive, the red, is obviously going to coincide with the red. Red is always positive, black is always negative. And then with these little pieces they give you, pop these out without spilling them everywhere. They give you a little, almost like a square nut that goes in under the, which it looks like you can do it two different ways on this one. That's interesting. I wonder which way I want to do that. I think I'm still going to go on the top. So nice. That's magnetized. Nice. Good job, Harbor Freight, adding that in. Okay. And then what you have is a washer and a bolt to secure that down. So then what I'll do is I'll push this back, put my bolt down in so it grabs into the square nut, and then I'll swap my little handy dandy screwdriver they gave with me to the other side so I can get that started. Yep, and that one's wanting to slide out. So what we're going to do is push that back over. So apparently that's not as easy. On the other battery, it snugs in there a little bit more. So this one, I think I'm going to have to push it over and get it hand started here. So this doesn't want to. Interesting. This bolt is not really long enough. So this terminal is a little bit bigger than this screw is long. So what I've done is I've grabbed my own screwdriver so I can use the Harbor Freight screwdriver just to hold up the end of that there. I'm going to kind of get it down started and see if yep, that's enough to actually grab a hold of it and get it so it's on there. So that's kind of a neat little trick there, just based on the way they've designed these, that you'll probably have to do to get it to work. So we'll do that same trick over here on this other side. Alright, so same little trick on this side here. Then we'll push our little cover down to cover the terminal. And then we'll put that over the top. So it looks like they've got some little cuts right in here in the plastic so that your wires and lines will find their way through. And then we'll secure that, and that goes up in there and kind of clips in. So make sure it kind of clips in and is flush. If you've ever compared the noise on the Predator to others, it's like the Honda. It's super quiet. Hard part with the Honda, you know, and I love Honda stuff, but they're so expensive that you can get multiple of the Predators for the same price you can get one Honda for. And of course, everybody's got their preference, and everybody, you know, loves what they love. But I figured that a generator kind of has a certain amount of life. Now I've got one that I've had for 5 years, and that's still running well. But you know, in 5 years, even if I replace this again, I'm still saving at least an additional 30% from what it would cost to buy the new Honda. So it looks like we should be ready to go, except for the fuel. So now with fuel, what I would recommend, and you know, there's no good gas cans left in the world, but what I would recommend is always using ethanol-free gas. It's just so much better on the engine, and it's more expensive, but in the end, I think that you will be better off using ethanol-free. So the next thing I'm going to do is put some gas in this so we can get it started. So they give you a little card when you first get it, and it says basically the steps that you need to do to start the generator. One is making sure that this little switch, the economy switch, which lets it idle super low, is on off. Then they want you to turn the switch from off to start. Then you push the start switch, and then basically the start switch is the choke, and then you'll bring it back to run. Once the engine's warm, you just do run restart. That's why I like the way they actually put that on there for people who maybe haven't used a generator before. So that's pretty nice. So we're going to go ahead, put a little bit of fuel in there, just enough to run it right now. So let's give it a try. All right, so we got this to go on our new camper, so I don't have to swap them back and forth between campers. And if you ever get a chance and you find a good welder, it's a great deal, because they weld them up on the tongue. I mean, it works out great when you're going around. You're not having to rely on anybody else. But Predator stuff is a great deal. That's an easy way to get it set up and going. You can use that same kind of technique for most generators as well. Remember, doing things yourself, even when it's 100 degrees outside, allows you to save money, and it also allows you to be free. See you in the next project.